What if I told you that your deepest pain, the kind that haunts your thoughts and keeps you awake at night, was never your enemy? That the suffering you've tried so hard to escape was actually the hidden path to your greatest strength? The ancient Stoics didn't run from pain, they faced it head-on. To them, pain was not a punishment, but a forge. A brutal, refining fire that burns away weakness and reshapes the soul into something unbreakable. Life doesn't destroy you. It sculpts you. Every hardship carries a lesson, and every scar marks a step forward. While the world seeks comfort and distraction, the Stoic steps into the storm, not out of madness, but out of mastery. He understands that true strength is not born from ease, but from endurance. In chaos, he finds calm. In suffering, he finds growth. So the next time pain knocks on your door, don't run, open it. Because what if everything that once tried to break you was actually preparing you to rise? Pain is not the enemy, misunderstanding it is. From the moment we first taste disappointment, rejection, betrayal, or loss, we're conditioned to recoil. We tell ourselves we shouldn't feel this way, that life should be easier, that something must be wrong. But the Stoics, those ancient warriors of the mind, saw pain differently. They believed that every moment of discomfort was an invitation, an entry point to self-mastery. Not something to avoid, but something to observe, to welcome, to study. Pain, they knew, doesn't destroy us, it reveals us. It strips away the lies we tell ourselves, burns away the illusions we carry, and shows us who we truly are when everything else is taken. While others run from it, the Stoic turns inward and listens. Because within pain lies the quiet blueprint for strength, for character, for transformation. Seneca said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality," and he was right. We live most of our lives in the shadows of things that haven't happened yet. Tormented by fears we invented, by futures we rehearsed, by conversations that never took place. We become prisoners in our own minds, locked behind the bars of imagined doom. Pain rarely destroys us physically. It paralyzes us mentally. But the Stoic path is one of awareness, of calling yourself out on these self-inflicted wounds. What if the fear you carry is heavier than the actual event? What if the suffering is not in the wound, but in your resistance to it? What if the true prison is not the pain, but the way you refuse to face it with clarity? The Stoic asks not, "Why is this happening to me?" but, "How can I rise through this?" That shift alone can redefine your entire life. Pain is not chaos, it is communication. It is your body, your heart, your soul, sending you a message that something must be acknowledged, something must be faced. But modern culture has taught us to mute the signal. We medicate, distract, numb, scroll, avoid. Yet the Stoic chooses the opposite path: attention, stillness, courage. When pain comes, he doesn't panic. He pauses, he listens, he reflects, and in doing so he learns. Pain shows him his limits, not to shame him, but to stretch him. It reveals where he is soft, so he may become strong. It breaks his comfort, so he may build endurance. It cracks his pride, so he may discover humility. Pain is not a curse, it is a teacher. And only those who are brave enough to sit in its classroom can walk away truly changed. Marcus Aurelius, emperor of the known world, faced hardships that would have broken most men. Wars on the frontiers, plagues in the cities, betrayal from those closest to him. And yet he wrote nightly in his journal, calmly reminding himself that external chaos means nothing if the inner citadel remains intact. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. This was not poetry, it was survival. It was the daily practice of a man who knew that pain is not optional, but suffering often is. Marcus didn't pretend things were easy. He acknowledged the bitterness of life, but he refused to let it corrupt his soul. In pain, he found clarity. In loss, he found wisdom. He walked through fire, not as a victim, but as a student of life. This is the essence of Stoicism, enduring with elegance. There's something sacred about suffering. It brings us to the edge of ourselves. It peels back the noise and forces us to confront the raw, uncomfortable truth. When everything is going well, it's easy to play a role, to pretend, to posture, to hide behind success, wealth, or charm. But pain burns through those masks. It takes you down to your knees and asks you, who are you without all of it? And in that moment, if you're honest, brutally honest, you begin to see. Not the polished version of yourself, but the real one. Stoics understood that. They didn't just survive pain, they embraced its ability to reveal character. Because in that stripped-down place of discomfort, something extraordinary happens. Your ego dies, and your essence begins to speak. That's where resilience is born. That's where transformation becomes possible. Pain purifies. We live in an age of escape. Every inconvenience is followed by a distraction. One tap silences loneliness. One click numbs anxiety. But in trying to avoid pain, we've unknowingly lost ourselves. Because it is through pain, raw, unfiltered pain, that we truly meet ourselves. The Stoics understood this deeply. They knew that running from pain only extends its power. So they trained themselves to remain present, even in discomfort. When others flinched, the Stoic leaned in. When others sought comfort, he sought clarity. Because he knew, only in the silence of suffering can we hear the voice of the soul. Pain isn't here to crush you, it's here to awaken you. And the only way to truly understand who you are is to sit quietly in the fire, without flinching, and listen to what your struggle is trying to teach. Resilience isn't found, it's forged. Like steel and flame, it is shaped by pressure, by hardship, by pain that doesn't let up. The Stoics believed that comfort was a dangerous addiction, a slow poison to the soul. They practiced voluntary discomfort, not out of self-hate, but out of self-mastery. Seneca would sleep on the floor. Epictetus, once a slave, would fast and walk barefoot in cold weather. Why? To remind himself that strength comes not from what you have, but from what you can endure. When you deny yourself ease, you sharpen your endurance. When you welcome small struggles, the big ones don't shake you. Modern man avoids hardship. The Stoic seeks it, not recklessly, but intentionally, because he knows that only pressure reveals potential, and only through discomfort can we become dangerous, not to others, but to weakness itself. Every transformation begins in darkness. The seed must crack open before the roots grow. The caterpillar must dissolve before becoming a butterfly. So too must we break before we rise. Pain is not the end. It's the beginning of your rebirth. The Stoics knew that adversity was the crucible in which greatness is formed. Not in applause, not in achievement, but in moments where no one sees you. In nights when you cry silently, when you question everything, when the silence feels unbearable. It is in these unseen, uncelebrated battles that true strength is born. And while others see breaking as weakness, the Stoic sees it as growth. Because he knows, to become unbreakable, you must first allow yourself to break, and then choose to rebuild, brick by brick, with your own two hands. Pain clarifies. When everything is stripped away, your plans, your people, your comforts, what remains is truth. What do you really believe in? What values do you cling to when nothing is left? What kind of person do you become under pressure? The Stoic views pain not as a detour, but as a mirror. It shows you who you truly are, without filters, without roles, without excuses. In suffering, reputation means nothing. Only character remains. In hardship, philosophy stops being theory and starts becoming practice. Do you still hold your principles when it costs you something? Do you still act with honor when it's inconvenient? The Stoic knows. The true test of who you are isn't how you act when things are easy. It's how you respond when the world tries to break you. And that response is your legacy. Perspective is power. Most people see pain as injustice, as something unfair, as life being cruel. But the Stoic asks, what can I do with this? He shifts from victimhood to responsibility, from blame to opportunity. This doesn't mean denying pain or pretending it doesn't hurt. It means not wasting it. Every scar has a story, every wound a lesson, every loss a chance to refine yourself. You don't control the storm, but you control the sails. You control your mind, your choices, your response. And that's where all your strength lies, not in the elimination of pain, but in the elevation of your response to it. The Stoic mindset turns suffering into strategy. He doesn't just survive the storm, he uses it to sail forward. This is how you rise without rage. This is how you bend without breaking. We've built lives padded in comfort, yet we've never been more fragile. One harsh word, one rejection, one failure, and we fall apart. Why? Because we've been taught to expect ease, to believe that struggle is a sign of failure. But the Stoics saw it differently. Comfort, they believed, makes the body soft and the soul weaker. Only struggle builds strength. Only resistance breeds resilience. The man who has never suffered does not know his own capacity. He may look successful, but he is hollow. His strength is untested. But the one who has walked through hell and emerged with his values intact, that man cannot be shaken. So the Stoic welcomes trials. He doesn't complain when life gets hard. He tightens his grip and moves forward. Because he knows, easy lives make fragile people, but hard paths make unshakable souls. To master pain is to master the self. It is the quiet art of learning how to breathe when the air is thick with despair. It is the discipline of not letting the storm inside you spill into the world around you. Mastery doesn't mean you don't feel. It means you feel deeply but remain composed. The Stoic understands the difference between reaction and response. He knows that his first impulse may be anger, fear, grief, but he doesn't let those emotions drive the ship. He observes them, accepts them, and then chooses his action consciously. Pain is no longer a threat. It becomes information. It becomes fuel. When others drown in emotion, the Stoic floats above it, not because he is heartless, but because he is trained. Mastery is not absence of pain. It is movement through pain with intention and grace. You don't choose what happens to you, the betrayal, the illness, the death, the disappointment, but you do choose what it makes of you. And that choice, made in the middle of agony, made with trembling hands and tear-filled eyes, is where all your power lies. The Stoic doesn't pretend to enjoy suffering, but he refuses to let it define him. Instead, he uses it. He lets it mold him, discipline him, sharpen him. The pain becomes purpose. The wound becomes wisdom. And in that moment of decision, when you stand at the crossroads of bitterness and growth, the Stoic chooses the harder path. The path that hurts more now, but heals deeper later. The path that offers no applause but leads to true power. That's the moment that separates the broken from the unbreakable. Freedom isn't the absence of suffering. It's the ability to suffer well, to suffer with dignity, to suffer without losing your integrity. The Stoic isn't free because life is kind to him. He is free because nothing owns him, not desire, not fear, not pain. He has trained his mind to remain still while the world trembles. He has accepted that life will not always be fair, and yet he chooses to live with honor. That's freedom. To feel everything, yet not be ruled by anything. To lose everything, and still have yourself. The Stoic does not seek to escape pain. He seeks to transform through it. In mastering suffering, he liberates his soul, and in that liberation, he becomes untouchable, unbreakable, unchained. So when pain knocks on your door, and it will, don't turn away. Don't numb it. Don't hide from it. Don't ask why me. Instead, open the door, invite it in, sit with it, learn from it, because that pain has come bearing gifts, strength, clarity, humility, endurance. It has come to teach you what nothing else can, and though it may burn, it will also build. It will carve out parts of you that you didn't know existed. The Stoic knows, pain is not the villain. It is the sculptor, and you are the marble. You may be cracked, bruised, even shattered, but in the hands of pain you are also being shaped into something far more powerful than before. So let it do its work. And when you rise from it, because you will, rise not as the same person, but as something forged by fire, something unshakable.